Hi there, I'm Bastien, co-founder of Hublead, and welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're here, chances are you're looking to improve your HubSpot lead generation strategy, and that's exactly what we're going to cover in today's video. We'll start by briefly aligning on the fundamentals of lead generation. Then I walk you through the core HubSpot tools that support each step of the lead generation process. And finally, we'll set everything up together using one real example. Throughout the video, we'll build a full lead generation campaign focusing on how to capture leads, how to follow up automatically, how to manage them inside HubSpot, and lastly, of course, how to prepare them for qualification and sales handover. Everything I show you works with HubSpot free plan, and along the way, I also show some additional features that can be useful later on to scale your lead generation process. So whether you're a B2B company or a startup or an SME, this video will give you a clear and a practical framework you can reuse for your own HubSpot lead generation strategy. So let's get started. Before jumping into HubSpot and creating with you the lead generation campaign, I want to make sure we are aligned on what lead generation actually is. So, lead generation is a process of attracting people who are interested in what you offer, capturing their contact information, and guiding them toward a sales conversation over time. This process is always based on a value exchange. So instead of simply asking visitors for their email address, you offer them something useful in return, or what we call a lead magnet. This can be a guide, a checklist, a webinar, or even a demo resource like the one we'll use in this video. By providing upfront, you build trust and get permission to continue the conversation in a more relevant and personalized way. It is good to know that not all leads are in the same stage, which is why we're usually talking about different types of leads. Marketing qualified lead, or MQL, is someone who engages with your content, for example, by downloading a resource or reading multiple pages on your website, but who isn't ready to talk to sales yet. A sales qualified lead, or SQL, shows a much stronger intent, such as requesting a demo or booking a meeting, and is ready to be contacted by the sales team. Lastly, a product qualified lead, or PQL, has already used your product through a free trial or a demo and is showing conversion signals. The key principle to keep in mind here is that lead generation is all about quality and not quantity. And what I mean here is that a smaller number of well-qualified leads will always outperform a large volume of unqualified contacts. The goal, therefore, is to build an efficient pipeline where marketing and salespeople are aligned, which is difficult, and where each lead is handled at the right moment with the right message. And this is exactly where HubSpot thrives. It becomes powerful as it helps you to structure, automate, and track this entire process in one place. So now that we're aligned on how lead generation works, let's take a closer look at the HubSpot tools that make this process possible. To attract and capture leads, HubSpot offers landing pages and forms. Landing pages are where you present your offer in a clear and focused way, and forms are how you collect contact information in exchange for that value. You can also complement this with live chat and chatbots, which allow you to engage visitors in real time and capture leads without forcing them to fill out a form. We won't go deep into chat in this video, but it's important to note that it exists as another lead capture option inside HubSpot. Another important lead source, especially for B2B businesses, is LinkedIn. While this is not native to HubSpot, tools like Hublead allow you to import LinkedIn contact and conversation directly inside HubSpot. Of course, once leads are captured and created inside your CRM, HubSpot also helps you to nurture them with emails and workflows. Email allows you to deliver your content, follow up after a conversion, and stay in touch with your leads, while workflows automate this entire process so the right message is sent at the right moment without any manual effort. All of these interactions are then centralized inside HubSpot through a contact management and activity tracking. This means that every activity from submission, page views, emails, calls, or even LinkedIn interaction when using Hublead are recorded and stored, making it much easier to understand where your leads are in the journey and how to follow up in a relevant way. Finally, an essential step of the process is to measure the success of your strategy, and HubSpot helps you to do that with reports and dashboards. With this, you can track where your leads come from, how they convert, and how they move through your funnel, from first interaction to qualification. These insights allow you to identify what's working, what needs to improve, and where to focus your effort to generate better results over time. Okay, enough with the talking, and let's move into the practical part and start building our own lead generation campaign together. From now on, everything I'll show you will be directly inside HubSpot. And the first step of any lead generation campaign is to define the value exchange, which means choosing a lead magnet. In our case, the lead magnet we'll use throughout this video is a guide I already created on how to sync LinkedIn leads to HubSpot using Hublead. With the lead magnet clearly defined, the next logical step is to create a landing page. So go to Content, then Landing Pages, and click on Create a Landing Page. As you can see, HubSpot gives us the option to either build the page from scratch or use one of the available templates. To move a bit faster, let's select one of the templates. As you'll notice, HubSpot uses a drag and drop editor, which is great, which makes building a landing page quick and easy. For example, you can easily edit elements such as the headline, description, images, and layout. But before doing any of this, my first move is to make sure our logo is included, so visitors can immediately recognize the brand they are interacting with. This may sound basic, but always having a clear visual reference builds trust and reassurance. And we have a logo, so let's display it. Once this is done, we can start adapting the content of the template to our lead magnet. For the headline, I think I will go for something like "Tired of losing your LinkedIn leads." The idea here is to make sure the headline is catchy, clear, and directly connected to a real pain point. This is really important. This is the first thing your visitor will read, and it needs to immediately resonate with them. Of course, you can customize the font, size, and colors to match your brand guidelines. Next element that we need to change is the body text or description. Here, the goal is to clearly explain the value of our guide. For example, we can highlight that it shows step-by-step how to sync LinkedIn leads and conversation into HubSpot using Hublead. I also update the image to better emphasize the benefits of using Hublead. All these elements work together to convince the visitor that downloading the guide is worth it. The general idea is that within seconds, visitors understand what the guide is about, why it's useful, and what they need to do next, which is filling out the form. Yet, as you may have noticed, this element is still missing on our landing page. Before adding it, it's useful to note that HubSpot offers several types of forms, including embedded forms, pop-ups, slide-ins, and banners. This gives you flexibility depending on where and how you want to capture leads on your website. In our case, since we want the form to be directly visible on the landing page, we'll use the embedded form. So let's add one. From here, HubSpot gives us two options. We can either select an existing form or create a new one. And for the sake of the video, we're going to create a new one. Okay, so we've been redirected to the form builder, pretty similar to the landing page builder. We start with the form title. In our case, we can simply call it something like "Download our guide." We can, of course, also change the description of the form and put something like "Get access to our premium guide by filling out the form below." Premium, of course, it's always premium. Our guides are always premium. Let's keep it minimal here since the landing page already explained the value of the content. For the form fields, I'm only gonna ask for a first name, last name, and an email address. This is a deliberate choice because fewer fields usually lead to higher conversion rates. Simple rule, simple impact. Any additional information can always be collected later, so why do you want to ask them plenty of things? At this stage, HubSpot also allows us to handle compliance settings. Let's make sure to include a consent notice. And of course, we can enable CAPTCHA to prevent spam submission. This ensures, of course, that leads are collected in a legal way. Next, let's add a personalized call to action for the submit button, something simple and effective like download now. The main part of the form is now designed. The only thing left to do is to customize the confirmation message. Here we'll go with something simple too, such as "Thanks for downloading our guide." So the user immediately knows the action was successful. Now the form is created, but before going back to our landing page, there are a few more tabs I want to talk about. First, the Optimize tab, which provides a recommendation to improve your form and increase conversion rates. Another useful tab is Automation. From here, you can trigger automated action after a form submission, such as, of course, sending a follow-up email or enrolling the contact into a workflow, but we are going to look at that later in this video. And if we go to the Settings tab, you'll also see options such as automatically creating contacts from new email addresses and assigning a lifecycle stage to people who submitted the form. These settings are extremely powerful as they ensure your leads are properly structured inside HubSpot from the very beginning. Okay, now let's go back to the landing page builder and add it to the page. As you can see, the form is slightly too long for the current layout, which means we have to redo the design, but for the purpose of this video, I will just move forward. And here again, HubSpot gives us the option to connect the form to a workflow or send an automated email after submission. Again, we will look at that later. To finalize the landing page, we can also add elements such as testimonials and FAQs. This section helps build trust and remove last-minute objections. Testimonials reassure visitors by showing real customer experiences, while FAQs answer common questions they may have before downloading the content. For this example, I will add a testimonial from one of our customers and include a few general FAQs. Now we are almost done with our landing page, but before publishing it, I want to show you again a few additional tabs. Just like forms, the landing page also have an optimized tab. This is where HubSpot helps you to improve SEO by guiding you on the page titles, meta description, and overall search visibility. While SEO is not mandatory for every campaign, it becomes very valuable if you want your landing page to generate organic traffic over time. There is also a test tab, which allows you to run A/B tests or adaptive tests. This means you can create different versions of your landing page and test variations such as headlines, CTAs, or layout to see which one performs best. We won't set this up now, but it's important to know that HubSpot makes optimization very accessible once your campaign is live. Finally, before publishing, let's have a look of the preview of the page to see how exactly the landing page will appear on desktop or mobile. This helps ensure the layout is clear, readable, and of course user-friendly across devices. Once everything looks good, we can publish the page. At this point, our landing page is fully functional and ready to start capturing leads. Okay, so with the landing page ready, now we're going to see what happens once someone submits the form and how we can automatically follow up and nurture these leads using HubSpot email and workflow tools. In HubSpot, there are two main ways to create a workflow. You can go through the main menu, then automation and workflows, where you can create a new workflow either from scratch or by using a template from the library. But since we are already working on our landing page and form, there is an even faster way to do it. Let's go back to our form and click on Add Form to a Workflow. This automatically redirects us to the workflow builder, and most importantly, it ensures that the trigger is already correctly set. With the trigger already in place, let's determine the action that should happen when someone submits the form. The first action is to set the contact as marketing contact, so we can send them marketing emails. The second action will be a follow-up email sent immediately after the form submission. Via the email, I want to thank the contact for downloading the guide and confirm that their request was successful. It's a small detail, but it already makes the follow-up feel much more personal and relevant. Then we'll add another action to create a task for sales representative. This task will prompt the sales team to reach out the lead for a first conversation, for example, to ask if they would like to see a demo of Hublead or learn more about how it works with HubSpot. This ensures that no lead falls through the crack and that follow-ups happen at the right time. Of course, we could add many more actions to this workflow, such as additional emails, delays, content branches, or segmentation rules, but we'll stop here for now. Oh, by the way, something I didn't mention is how to get traffic to your landing page. Here again, HubSpot is a great tool as you can directly connect your social media accounts such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, allowing you to directly create and schedule posts inside HubSpot. Okay, now that we covered how to capture and nurture our leads, let's take a closer look at how HubSpot helps us manage and track these leads inside our CRM. From the main HubSpot menu, we'll go to CRM, then Contacts, and open one of the contact records that downloaded the guide through our landing page form. Since I downloaded the guide myself, let's open my profile. Inside my contact record, you can immediately see a complete timeline of everything that has happened. First, you'll see the form submission, which confirms when and through which landing page the guide was downloaded. Below that, you can track page views, showing which pages the contact visited on the website and how they interacted with the content. If a lead is part of a workflow, you will also see the workflow activity here, such as when the contact was enrolled or completed specific steps. In our case, since the workflow hasn't been published right now, it means that I'm not enrolled in it, and therefore the information won't appear for now. I love this view because here you can see all activities on the contact I mentioned earlier, and also the calls, emails, or LinkedIn messages and invitation if you use Hublead to import them quickly. Lastly, from the contact record, HubSpot also allows you to manage lifecycle stages, track how leads move from marketing to sales, and connect contacts to deal pipelines once opportunities are created. These elements become essential as your lead generation process grows and becomes more sales-driven. The centralization of all this information is what makes HubSpot so powerful. Both marketing and sales team can see the full context of every lead across channels, without jumping between tools or losing information. Now that we've seen how HubSpot centralizes and tracks all lead interactions, the next logical step is lead qualification. This is where you decide which leads deserve priority and which ones are not ready yet for a sales conversation. HubSpot supports this with a feature called lead scoring. We won't be setting up in this video because it requires a bit more configuration, take a lot of time, and in some cases, more advanced plans. However, if you want a full step-by-step walkthrough, we already have a dedicated video on our channel called Learn How to Implement HubSpot Lead Scoring. Simple, right? Where we show you exactly how to set it up inside HubSpot, of course. That being said, it's still important to understand how lead scoring works at a high level. In HubSpot, lead scoring helps you prioritize leads based on both their behavior and who they are. On the behavioral side, points are assigned based on the actions like visiting key pages, downloading content, opening emails, or requesting a demo. On the demographic side, scoring takes into account criteria such as job title, company size, or industry to see how well a lead fits your ideal customer profile. When you combine these two dimensions, you get a clear view of fit versus engagement. This helps marketing and sales focus on the leads that are not only interested, but also relevant. In more advanced HubSpot plans, you can even go further with features like buyer intent or HubSpot Breeze Intelligence. These tools work mostly in the background and are designed to enrich your CRM data and surface high potential leads earlier in the process. The key takeaway here is that tracking and prioritizing your leads actions is not something you need on day one, but as your lead volume increases, it quickly becomes essential to scale your HubSpot lead generation strategy efficiently. Okay, last but not least, now that our lead generation campaign is live and leads are coming in, the final step is to measure performance. This is a critical part of lead generation because without tracking and reporting, it's impossible to know what's working and what needs to be improved. From the main HubSpot menu, we'll go to reporting, then dashboards. This is where HubSpot allows you to build custom dashboard for your teams. We won't build one together in this video, but I want to show you what a simple lead generation dashboard looks like. With this example, we can get a clear overview of our performance in one place. First, we can see how many contacts have been created over time, as well as where these leads are coming from. For example, whether they come from your website, paid search, social media, or other channels. This helps you understand which acquisition sources are driving the most value and where you should focus your efforts. We can also monitor conversion rates, such as how many visitors turn into leads and how many of these leads move further down the funnel. In our case, we can clearly follow the journey from visitor to lead to marketing, qualified lead, and eventually, of course, to customer. This makes it much easier to identify where people drop off and where optimization are needed. Another very useful insight comes from landing page performance. Here you can see the total number of views on your landing pages, how many form submissions they generate, how many new contacts come from those submissions, and even how much time visitors spend on the page. All of this helps you to evaluate whether your landing page is clear, convincing, and aligned with your audience's expectations. You can also track marketing contacts created by form submission. This shows you which forms are actually generating marketing contacts and how many come from each form. This is especially useful to understand which offers and lead magnets bring the most relevant leads in your pipeline. When it comes to email performance, you can include some metrics directly in your dashboards, but I usually recommend going into the email tool itself. There you'll find more detailed metrics such as open rates, click rates, and engagement over time. This helps you quickly assess whether your messaging resonates with your audience or if it needs to be adjusted. As you move to more advanced use cases, HubSpot also allows you to track deeper insights such as a top path, for example, for a campaign engagement. You can also analyze ad campaign performance to understand which campaigns drive the most engagement across your different ad networks. And finally, with revenue attribution, you can connect your marketing action directly to sales outcome and revenue to clearly understand where your results are coming from. The key thing to remember here is that lead generation is never a one-time setup. You need to continuously monitor your data and use it to optimize your landing pages, form, emails, and of course, your workflows in the end. And the more you measure, the easier it becomes to improve your results and grow your revenue over time. So the main idea here I want you to remember from this video is that HubSpot is a complete ecosystem that allows you to manage your lead generation from start to finish all in one place. And that's why I love HubSpot. Also remember that you don't need to start with a complex setups or pay plan at the beginning. HubSpot's free tools are already more than enough to build a solid lead generation process, meaning that you should only upgrade when your data and results clearly justify it. In this video, we build a lead generation campaign around one concrete example. And what's great is that you can easily reuse this framework for any other lead magnet or B2B lead generation strategy. If you want to go further, do not hesitate to like this video, subscribe to my channel so you get a notification whenever I create a new video around HubSpot and especially outbound. So see you in the next video.